Hello guys, I'm David and today we're going to talk about merge sort and quick sort in data structures. So what actually merge and quick is they are sorting algorithms which are used to sort elements in an array or a linked list where they can be uh, accessed easily. So now we're going to see merge sort. Actually these we're going to start from the main. So we ask the user about which sorting he wants to use, merge sort or quick sort. Then we ask the number of elements, and then we ask him to enter the elements themselves. After after we get the input for merge sort and quick sort, we use it in an if else statement. After getting the elements in the array A, which is globally declared, we send in the first element L is equal to 0 and R is equal to n minus 1, the first and the last elements, into the function merge sort. So this function merge sort is here. So what this does is it takes in arguments L and R, then uh, it checks if L is lesser than R. If L is lesser than R, it enters the if statement. After it happens, it goes to M. M is half. M adds L plus R by 2, and then a recursive function merge sort is called L comma M. And then now after this recursive is done completely, it goes to the next one, M plus 1 comma R, where M plus 1 is mid plus 1 comma R to the second half of the array. And then in the end, after after the merge sort is done, it goes to merge X L comma R comma M. So here what happens is we have elements L, R and M. L is the first element, R is the last, M is the middle element. So we have a smaller array of what initially we had. So now I becomes L, K becomes L, J is equal to M plus 1. So now here we have uh, if while I lesser than or equal to mid and J lesser than or equal to last. So when any one of this condition is reached, when it is reached, then the while loop stops. If it isn't, it goes into the while. It checks if A of I is lesser than A of J, where A of I represents the first half of the array and A of J represents an element from the last. So if that happens, C of k equal to A of I, where C is another new array declared to store the variables, to store the elements. Then k is incremented and I is incremented. If this condition is false and if it is greater than or equal to, it goes into this to store C of k equal to A of j and k plus plus and I plus plus. So what happens here is after this while loop is executed, it goes into the next while loop. In this while I lesser than or equal to m, C of k equal to A of I. So what happens here, it copies all the elements of A to C from wherever I ends till m. Or in a similar case, if that is wrong, it goes to J lesser than or equal to R. From J it stops till R, it copies all the elements of A to C. Now, after the sorting is done, all the elements of C which we use as temporary array are stored into the initial array we used to A. Now, that is in case of merge sort. Now, we're going to look at quick sort as we ask the user. So, if his option is 2, we're going to go to the function quick sort. So, the quick sort starts from here. So, now again we use L and R as the first and last elements. I is equal to L, J is equal to R. We initialize it inside the function for easier reference. And temp and pivot are two new variables. Temp stores the temporary values, and pivot here declares a value in between where we find the right position for the element. So initially we assume that pivot is A of L plus R by 2, that is the middle element. Then we check if I is lesser than j. If that is true, I is lesser than or equal to j. If that is true, it enters It checks for I lesser than pivot, so it keeps checking. It increment. If it is true, it keeps incrementing till it finds the right one. uh, and once that is done, a of j greater than pivot, so it checks for that also. So now it gets two values. After getting the two values, we check. Now we get the position of the two elements. Now we compare the position of the two elements. If I is lesser than j, we swap the values using this code. Then after swapping, that happens till I is lesser than j in this while loop. Once this whole while loop is done, then we go to another set part of the function. If I lesser than j, quicksort L comma j. So what happens here is from the first till wherever j is stopped, it till there the quicksort is executed. If that does not take place, I to r, quicksort I comma r is executed. So this is for quicksort and merge sort. Now we run the program. Now we compile it, then it executes. First I want to run merge sort, give option 1, the total number of elements I enter 5, so the elements I enter are 5, 2, 4, 1, 3. So this, so the sorted array is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I do want to continue. Now I go to quick sort, number of elements 5. So now the sorted array is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that's for merge sort and quick sort. Thank you guys.